I'm delighted now to introduce Mariente van der Merwe, Product Manager from Wolters, Kluwer, Enablon. And the title is called From PHA to Living Risk, Using AI to Close the Gap Between Analysis and Operations. Big round of applause, please, for Mariente. Thank you.
I'll pose for Mark first. Hey, everybody. Since this morning, we have heard so much about AI, and it's a stark difference from what we were hearing last year and the year before. It was before, how do we visualize risk? How do we start connecting our different aspects? How do we live in this siloed world in operations? And then we started with digital twin, and now it's just AI. Like, it's crazy. So I will also add a little bit more AI to it. I am Mariante. It's not easy to pronounce, I know. I am actually from health and safety. That's where I started my career for a long time in South Africa in the mining industry. I am going back soon, so I really are interested to see what happened there in the last 10 years since I left, because when I left, the people I worked with was almost mostly illiterate. So AI, I think, is going to change their world a lot. I moved into process automation with Oceaneering and also with Schneider and Deveva. And then since the last 3 years, I'm in process safety at Enablon. I love to show this picture to my teams often because it reminds me of what we do and why we do it. And I think most people in this room, this is what we don't want to see. This is what we want to prevent. This is the most horrible thing that anybody could ever wake up to. And it's still real. If you think about what we've seen in the last couple of days in the news, it still happens. AI is not magically taking that away. It's not magically going to say, hey, no more incidents, or it's not going to predict what the next big incidents are. I don't think it will ever. It's going to help. It's going to definitely narrow it down, but it's not going to magically do that. Even with all the data and all the computing resources, we still need a little bit of fate, right? So in Enablon, what we have is, in process safety, these 4 different elements. And we are in the age of AI, but still, when I talk to clients, they are still siloed. Their operations are separate from their risk departments, separate from their engineering departments. They do PRAs or HAZOPs somewhere in a system, and they do their visualization, hopefully they have that in a different system. And I know a lot of this audience, I think, maybe you can show hands, who uses Bowtie in the operations to visualize risk? Yeah, a couple, so good topic. If you have your PHAs, not all operations need them, a lot of them do, but it's not only PHAs, it's also just risk assessments that you would have in your operations. Do you want to visualize that risk for your operations, right? And then if you can make that dynamic, do you add your current, what is your barrier status, what is your elements? If you can start adding that into that visualization, you're already a big step ahead. And if you can even bring it back all the way around to make that operational in your control of works, in your permits, that is almost like the full circle of what we try to do in process safety. And AI can help with that. It's not going to start almost, I love to say the word magic when I talk about AI. It feels magic, even though I know exactly what is going on with the software engineering behind it. It's not going to start creating and making that data flow. That will take work, it will take effort, it's going to have a lot of legal implications, security implications, and your teams is probably already working on it. But if the platform is there, and if it's connected, adding the AI functionality to it, it's so much easier. Because then the software and the platform will take care of it for you. And that's what we did with Enablon. So today, I will focus on the PHA and the bow tie part, a little bit more on the bow tie. And if you're interested to see a little bit more about the barrier and control of work, tying it all together, please come and talk to me afterwards. So, I wonder if it will play or if it's gonna, yes, it will play. I have a couple of videos because it's the easiest way to show. This is our PHA application. We focus on standardization, no or very little customization. Because the moment you have standardization, you can start visualizing your risk and assessing and comparing your risks as well as your consequences and the way you mitigate it across your different sites. If everybody's got their own little thing that they do, it's really hard to know if the risk in one site is the same as the risk in another site. So our vision is to make it easy and standardize as much as possible, although it's not always possible to do that. So what you saw is a HAZOP in our application, and in this case, there's also a LOPA. This is really information dense. It's a lot to digest, and it's not something that you're going to give a frontline operator, and when they're starting to do a permit and they add a barrier to it, or they are isolating a piece of equipment, they will never go back to a PHA, I promise you. And you would also not want them to do that. It's way too much detail, and not all of it is relevant. So what you want to do is take the PHA. Let's see if it plays. Yeah, so you take the PHA and you push what you want to show in operations. You push that to bow tie. And ideally, you would not do it on a one-on-one. You would start accumulating your threats and grouping them, and accumulating your consequences and grouping them. And the barriers that is important to show, maybe not all of them, maybe none at all, hopefully not. You would also select them and you would push them to your bow tie. So this is intuitive and easy to use. Let's see if we can, what we're doing now is just selecting the threats, grouping them. Yeah, it's seeing what barriers do we have, preventative, mitigative, where they land on your bow tie, on the left or the right side. And you can actually preview it in your PHA application to make sure that it's accurate and the way that you want it, and you would generate it in your bow tie. So this is what a very complex PHA scenario, or couple of scenarios in a processing plant would look like. Dense Excel, visualized bow tie. I use bow tie often when I want to teach my kids something new. For example, going to the shop on their own with their bicycles. What do they need to look out for? What could go wrong? And this, I'm explaining it to a 6-year-old. It's really easy to understand, and because it's visual. So I'm going to skip one video, because in this video, I want to show you how we do it manually. But we don't want to do it manually anymore. We want to do it with AI. So let's see, one back, apologies. See if it's playing. Wait. Guys, could you press play? Yes, okay. So, in the previous video, I would show you how to do it manually. When you start creating a bow tie in your PRA from your PRA, you would not have all the barriers. You would have process elements. You would not have the non-process elements or scenarios in there. For example, just external corrosion, human factors, psychological factors. Those would not be in there. So you would have to go to your bow tie and you would add them in manually. Now, with our AI, you can just type it in there, like review my bow tie. What elements did I miss? What scenarios could I add? And it's pulling from industry standards. It's pulling from curated databases. For example, in the aviation industry, there's so many good curated information there. It's not going on a wild goose chase to Wikipedia and see what's on there. In this one, see if it plays. Yeah. We all know how it feels to look at a blank screen. And to generate a bow tie from nothing, it takes a while. Some companies, it takes about 2 weeks with a room full of experts to make sure that what we have is good. So in this one, I have decided to make it a little bit relevant for us, creating a bow tie at a speaker conference. What will happen? We have an hotel, we have food, we have accommodation, and I am sure if our combined knowledge in a couple of, maybe half an hour, we would be able to get to most of this, right? But this takes a couple of seconds, and when I looked at it, it was fairly good. It had food poisoning, which was like interesting. Yeah. Fire escape routes, it had all of it. It would not be perfect, 100%. We still need that expert to go and evaluate it. But what took 2 weeks or a week or a couple of days for a team of experts to start and create this and then to go refine it, it now takes a couple of minutes. And the last one, show you, it starts, is a SIR. I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with what a SIR is, but basically you take an incident report, and in this case, you can read it for yourself. It is so vague. This is actually a real incident that happened, and the team would start to analyze it. What happened? Why did it happen? What could go wrong? And at the end, they would generate a bow tie. So not only for the preventative, but also for the mitigative, after an incident has happened. They would create the bow tie. And then afterwards, in some companies, if it's created, they would actually go and compare it to their operational procedures, and if they have bow ties, see what was missed. And again, this is something that takes a long time for a lot of people. They would sit there and start thinking and drawing it out. Now, we can have a team of people generated, and their expertise can now go to my experiences. I think this is okay, but hey, in my experience, this is missing, or this can be added, or this is not relevant. So what took a long time is now easy, and what I like to say is that our engineers can now go back to do engineering things, right? The important things. I've got 2 minutes left, so I want to wrap up by saying, next year, hopefully I'll stand here again, and it's going to be a vast different conversation. It's very theoretical at the moment. How do we implement AI? What does it mean? Where is your data? What does security look like? How do we do change management in our organizations? Most likely next year, most of us will have some form of AI and automation in our processes, in our plants already. If we let some of the software vendors take a little bit of that risk, we can already start implementing that sooner. And the photos that we saw earlier, hopefully we can prevent that a little bit earlier and a little bit more easily. So it's about taking your data, connecting it with AI, and making sure that what we are here to do, preventing those incidents, they happen sooner rather than later. I think I have maybe 1 minute for questions. I don't know if that's enough.
If someone wants to ask a quick question before we go to the last presentation, feel free.
None? Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.